everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Feedback. Tonight we're going to have the great Brechlein to share his wonderful life stories with us. So Tom is from Long Island, and he's been here in Austin for quite a while. I've known him and actually been in the studio with him. And let me tell you, he's known as a jazz fusion drummer, but he can really rock. So let's see what he has to say. Hi, Tom.
Hello. No, I'm kidding. Hello. They'll know what it is after it.
Yeah, I know.
That's coming up.
It's like, hey, long time no see. Yeah.
Long time no see.
Actually, me and Tom know each other from California. I met him like 35 years ago, I think.
Well, 36. Yeah.
36 years ago. Yeah. It's been a while. And actually, we both moved to Austin, both doing separate things, and then finally got to connect back together again a few years ago.
Yeah, I was here a year, and I had heard you were here.
Yeah.
And then about a year later, then you called me up and go, I heard you were in town. I said, yeah, I am.
That's right. Yeah, Tom, I think when I met you, you were recording with Eric, right?
I think it was with Robben Ford and the Blue Line. I think I met you through Roscoe Beck.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then I know I was coming out to Austin during that time, and I saw you a couple times at Eric's studio.
Right. I think we were doing Bloom. We were doing that Bloom record.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know about you, Tom, because I've never asked you. Like, how long did you live in Long Island?
I grew up East Meadow, Long Island, New York, and I was there until I was 20, and then I auditioned for Chick Corea and got the gig. So I went off, and then shortly got stuck in Los Angeles, which I didn't really want to be there. I wanted to be in New York and starve and all that kind of thing.
Experience the artist life.
Yeah, whatever. So
well, did you immediately move?
But it turned out to be a good move. I mean, I think either one would have turned out to be a good move. Either way, you stay in New York or move to LA.
Well, the time we were in LA was probably some of its best time.
Yeah,
in the sense of work, because I know that both of us were constantly working when we were out there.
Yeah, well, that would be even before that. It was even more so. Before I came to Los Angeles, but from what from guys that I've worked with, and it's tough in the beginning, even though you're on the road with somebody like Chick or something like that, and you still got to pound the pavement when you're a new guy in town. At least that's my experience.
Yeah, I actually did some search. When you know people, you don't really look into so much stuff. But I didn't know that you got to play with Halsworth. And
well, we jammed a few times.
I mean, what an amazing guitar player.
Yeah, he was great. One time we jammed one with Billy Childs, and then with the great keyboard player, composer, piano player Billy Childs back in Los Angeles, and then also with Bunny Brunel and Kayakagi, another bass player, great bass player back in Los Angeles. Who's from France though?
Yeah.
But, and Kayakagi, who's an amazing piano player. We've been good friends forever,
Yeah. Well,
and then finally, the thing that Frank and Bali put together on Shrapnel Records.
Oh, right. That's right.
Right. And then, but then we weren't in the same studio together. I mean, Alan did his. We tracked with we tracked with Frank Gambale, name dropper. And it was Frank Gambale's project, I
Right.
believe. And we recorded and then Alan did his stuff later on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I know, it's funny you say shrapnel days in the 80s when people used to get shrapnel deals. We were like going, oh, a shrapnel deal. But, they normally give you like 30 grand to do an album. And nowadays people would be glad to get 30 grand.
Right. Well, I don't know what they gave people, but I got paid as a session musician. So,
yeah,
I didn't have to worry about that.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, you got to work on, I was looking here, you got to work on some serious albums on your, let's see here, I will, because I was looking at all the different albums that you worked on, and here, hold on, look at this. That's pretty good discography,
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Among other things, you don't, it's.
I know you've done a lot. I mean, this is just a small sampling of.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Because you're busy constantly, and I know that because every time you're, almost every day you've got something going on. So
yeah. I mean, we always. You and I have made a lot of phone calls together. Knock on wood,
You know that. Oh, absolutely. Well, the thing that everybody wants to know is like when you were growing up, why did you pick drums? What was the thing that drove you to do that?
I wanted to annoy the neighborhood, and I didn't want to learn chords.
Did you beat on?
I didn't want to learn music. No.
I
wanted to get arrested a few times, and cause havoc. No.
Who was the one that made you jump and do it? You saw somebody. You must have listened to something.
Well, my sister she was the one with the stereo upstairs. And I had two older sisters, and there was the only record player upstairs, and she would bring in all the really cool stuff, buy albums and whatnot. And you could hear it from you could hear it through the house. It was great. So I'd sit by the stairs in the beginning, and you listen to to Elvis, older Elvis. Who else was? I can't remember. It's just like all these really Dion and the Belmonts. To name a few, and then all of a sudden, then the Motown sound, and then the Beatles.
Right.
And then the Beatles were, of course, everybody's got that story. That's the thing that capped it. I remember, it sounds corny, but it's like and it was around Christmas time, or it might have been after Christmas time, and I heard "I Want to Hold Your Hand" up, in my sister's room. And I remember I had a guitar, and I liked Elvis. So I remember that night putting the guitar down, and I was like, okay. Little kids, it's like it's time to go, okay, I'm done with Elvis. These guys are cool. And it was just the harmony. What really got me first was, I don't know, the way they were both singing together, John and Paul. And then when you get to the chorus, that harmony was like, I don't know, it struck something with me. It just got like, I said, wow, this is really cool. And then shortly after that, they were on Ed Sullivan, and then I saw Ringo playing. And I went, there you go. That's pretty much it. And that's what started the whole thing. Then the whole British invasion.
Right.
And then, AM radio back then, this was 1964 when I Want to Hold Your Hand came out, probably 63, 64. And even at that time, AM radio, you had corny stuff, you had really cool stuff, you had the Motown sound, you had Sam Cooke, you had, just to name a few, the Temptations, Martha and the Vandellas, and played by great rhythm sections that you don't even know about. And then you had the California sound, and then mostly the British invasion for me, and then and Motown.
So you weren't in
Franklin and then unbeknownst to me, I was listening to Green Onions was on AM radio,
right.
Booker T and the MGs, and the Stax Volt stuff. It's some, not all of it, but on New York AM radio, 1010 Wins New York. That was Murray the K and the Swingin' Soiree, and then you had the Good Guys, Cousin Brucey, and there were like four great AM radio stations that played everything, and it was pretty much all of it was really cool, and it's kind of an education. I don't know if it sounds silly, by osmosis, music education by osmosis.
Of course.
And then you had PBS, which I remember seeing Max Roach. I didn't know who Max Roach was, but I said, "This is pretty cool." And he was doing a drum solo, musical drum solo, real music, and like stuff like that. A lot of stuff was available, and plus the Memorial Day Parade, where I used to get really excited because all the drum and bugle corps would pass by, and you see all that brass and the sound when you're a kid is like huge, Yeah.
Especially with drums.
Oh, especially with drums. So that's what kind of started the whole thing, and
Did you were you ever in a top 40 band in New York?
No, I was never in a top 40 band.
Really?
I did work for Stephen Scott Music, which was they called them club dates in New York, wedding bar mitzvah bands, but
right.
And our band was the hip top 40 band. So I guess you could say it was a top 40 band because we played all the hits and intertwined with standards so the older people could dance. But I was never in a official top 40 bands,
So you're lucky. I mean, you pretty much came right out of the chute, playing with professional bands. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it wasn't long before I was. It wasn't long for it was within 2 years I was on the road after high school.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, what was it like working with Chick?
Oh, it was great. It was definitely flying by the seat of your pants. I'll tell you that much. Because I didn't know. I mean, I knew enough to get me going, with all the cool music that was out there,
Yeah.
And a really great music education of East Meadow High School.
Yeah.
Which had, actually, there's Nassau County and Suffolk County, and so you have Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, Suffolk. So Brooklyn, of course, and Queens, they're closer to the city, obviously. And then we were right in the center of Long Island. And then you had Suffolk, which was, way out there. And they had great music programs and incredible teachers. Not only did you learn about rock and roll and all that stuff, which was there, but you learned about jazz, classical, modern music, so to speak, like wind ensemble, percussion ensemble stuff, and I was lucky because I was in the school that was probably the perfect example of a what would you say, a music department that really paved the way for kids and really gets them educated. I mean, educated in the sense of not like book education, per se, but experiencing like the real stuff. And I remember in junior high school, they took a few of us, a guy named Kenny Seppi, who was great. He was part of the music department that he ran the band program. And he also would work in do this because he's a trumpet. But
Right.
he'd work in Manhattan a lot. So he took us to see Joel Kaye's Neophonic Jazz Ensemble. When they were rehearsing, I was actually sitting behind the drummer. There was trumpet. There were about 5 of us, and we took a field trip into the city, and it was great. I mean, you got a taste of these guys were sight reading stuff, and they were playing. They were the guys in New York. I mean, they were the dudes. They were the, so to speak, the dudes, the cats, whatever you want.
That's right.
The cats, man. And it was really something. And then we moved over to the high school, which had 3 jazz ensembles, 3 wind ensembles, 3 choirs, and 3 orchestras. A, B, and C. And you had to audition for those every year. And the jazz ensemble was really cool. It was after school on Fridays, and you had to audition for that. And, I worked hard, and I got in all the A groups all 3 years in high school. Well, some people say 4 years in 9th grade, but
Right.
Get into that. And then they also had music theory, theory 1, theory 2, and modern arranging. And this guy, Mike Carubia, put that together. And it wasn't because these teachers put this stuff together. It wasn't a rich private school. It was a public school with teachers that really got in there and got creative about this stuff. And thank goodness they weren't stopped for doing it, And that was the same thing with other high schools around Long Island, had the same stuff going on. And with the jazz ensemble, what would happen is Bill Katz, who was the chairman, thank goodness for him. Boy, I tell you, I got a lot to thank him for, because not only was he a great guy, and still is teaching now was he 91? He's still teaching people
To play.
students, private students. Of course, he's retired from East Meadow High School. I call East Meadow High School the house that Bill Katz built, or the house the Katz built. And when we had rehearsals for the jazz ensemble, he'd invite guys from Manhattan that were composers and stuff like that. Dave Berger, for one of them. A lot of people wouldn't know, who he is, but he was pretty, he was the shit, And for lack of a better description, you could read that out or whatever. And he didn't fool around. He treated us like we were professionals, and whatnot. And then also in the orchestra, it wasn't the watered down versions, of the orchestra, for the orchestra and the wind ensemble, too. It meant business, and you had to keep your seat, just like, kind of in the real world, you got to do a good job or they won't call you back, So that really prepared me. And then I went on to, and then I was playing in bands then, local garage bands and stuff.
Right.
But then, Mike Carubia, rest in peace, he was trumpet player, and what he used to do is he used to hire me. I think it was when I was 16. And for the Dixieland band he was in, called Red Breton and the Red Bandits. And they used to put dress up nice and try to keep me in the back, and, because, at 18, you couldn't get in the bars,
Right, that's right.
And we'd play, and I'd play Dixieland music, And I didn't know anything about it. I just said, okay, we're going to swing and just keep your ears open, And I did good, and he kept on hiring me a little bit, and, one thing led to another. And then, and then after that, I went into Nassau Community College for 2 years, which was really great. That was a really great experience. I had great teachers there. And then, but what I really want to do is quit school and live in New York and get a loft with a bunch of guys and starve my face off,
Right, well, that's the eat ketchup sandwiches.
Yeah, eat ketchup sandwiches and, and play all night and try and get gigs with people in the jazz clubs or any kind of club, for that matter, which made me want to be a studio. I kind of wanted to be like a studio musician or go on the road with anybody, freelance musician. And, but that things happened really quick. Next thing I knew, I was on the road I was in Los Angeles playing with Chick. And you're sitting there and you go, how did this happen? And I said, don't ask. Just don't. How did this happen? Just go.
You just pinch yourself. Did you guys do a lot of world touring or just America?
Oh, yeah. The first tour I did was a world tour. I mean, when I went out to rehearse with Chick, I had never been on a plane before. I was 20 years old. The furthest I had ever been out of town was Virginia.
Wow.
And
that's a big change.
Oh, yeah. It was wild. I talk about a country bumpkin type personality.
Yeah, you got
smart to a point.
Yeah. Right? I said you got thrown into it.
Oh, yeah, it was great. And so then next thing I know, we're rehearsing at SIR Studio 3 during the California Jam 2.
Okay.
I remember that. Because we were rehearsing. It was a big sound stage. It was 13-piece band with Chick. It was...
was it the one on Santa Monica or the one on Sunset?
The one on Sunset.
Yeah, okay.
Next to Gower Gulch.
Yeah, that's right, Gower Gulch. I remember that.
And it was all news to me, man. It was like, here was Sunset Boulevard, man. You only think about, man, I'm in Hollywood. What the heck's going on here?
A lot was going on. I mean, Hollywood,
oh, yeah.
Especially when I was younger, people thought that Hollywood was kind of a scary place, but it actually wasn't. It was
like Hollywood Boulevard to me and Sunset Boulevard. It was like, I thought it was going to be big hustle and bustle, but to me it was, I guess being from Long Island, Manhattan all the time was slow to me.
Yeah.
It was like, so this is it? It's like, this is it? Hollywood Boulevard? And I mean, now it's back. I mean, later on, it got back up to, if I'm not mistaken, it got back up to being busy again. But still, it was like, it's just this street,
Well, it went through a bunch of different changes because it was busy like in the 80s and the 90s, but it wasn't scary. The police weren't after you, and because we would do shows and then we could walk from like the Chinese. We'd go to the famous Jerry's, not Jerry, but Denny's there.
Denny's. Oh, Denny's back then was really cool. It was clean.
Right. And then we'd walk over to Grauman's. That's right. We'd go to Grauman's, right? Put our hands in and we'd walk around. You could walk around late at night and it wasn't a problem. Not like it's different now.
Yeah.
So was there any interesting countries that you got to be when you went with Chick? I mean, was there?
Buenos Aires was. I mean, South America. Buenos Aires was probably my favorite city.
Yeah.
At that time, I mean, Paris, of course. London, I love. London was great. London was kid. The first gig that I ever played with Chick was at the Rainbow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a cool place.
Yeah, that's a cool place.
A lot different than the Rainbow in Hollywood.
Dude.
That's right. The Rainbow in Hollywood. I was thinking while you were talking that obviously all the things that you did basically has created your style, right? How you play, because your style is really wild. I mean, it's wide. It goes from jazz to all the way to hard rock. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, it's funny when you try to break into possibly, which I've never done, do some hard. I mean, like some pop records. I remember you'd be on a jingle session or something, or some recording session, or a Latin American record. I mean, not Latin American. Excuse me. A recording session for South America or something like that, and the same musicians and the engineers, and you're doing a rock thing, and they've never heard you in that genre. When that's what used to happen to me. They said, "I didn't know you could play that way," and I looked at them. I go, "You never asked."
That's right. No,
it's just like, it's what do you need? What do you want? And so when people would explain what they wanted, then you do what they want.
Well, the thing is people don't understand the other side of Tom.
The other side of Tom.
And here is one.
Hello! It's me, don't worry. No, it's not Halloween. It is not Halloween. It's algorithm. I'm back. I was taking a week off, vacation, and everything was good. Okay, everything's good, but today is a very special day. Very special lesson on the jazz oompa. The jazz oompa. I love the jazz. And I love the John Coltrane. Elvin Jones is great. Oh my God. He's a mother father. Anyway, so I'm going to give my buddy smoking Baltimore Bill Boblets. Say that 5 times fast. He gave me a track to play with in the oompa style, the oompa jazz style. And I'm going to show you how to do the oompa jazz style. It's beautiful. I love it. So here goes. We're going to play giant steps. And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Glasses. Oh.
I started that whole thing when the pandemic started because I was doing tracks for people, and so in the middle of I finished this one tune for this guy, and I had this idea popped into my head. No, what happened? The idea popped in my head before I started recording in here. But so I figured, okay, I'll put the idea down in the beginning, and then I'll finish it after. It wasn't on this one, but the first one. There are 7 of them. That's how much I got into it. But it only took like 2 or 3 minutes to put together, and because it was all at the top of my head, just go with it. And if it was funny, I put it on Facebook. So it was just something that popped into my head. This German guy, algorithm. And I don't know where that hell that came from. It was.
Well, to show people that actually, you. was cool.
That
I
was
mean,
from Paul Peterson's Funk Friday. He has a bunch of, it's like, now he's got about 78 of them now, you know?
Yeah.
And I've done 3 of them. And that was all, and he's still doing them. It's great. It's fun, you know, it takes just a minute to do, you know, get it done and send it in with the video, you know, get the camera here and all that.
Oh, it's awesome. I know that you're doing a lot of remote, especially right now. Everybody's doing remote.
Yeah.
All the craziness that's going on. That and that's one of the things I wanted to tell everybody is that you know, we'll put contact information so that, because you will do remote recording, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I started doing it. 4 years ago. I mean, solo, so to speak.
Right.
And just it grew. It was nice. People liked what I did. I remember I checked it with some engineers in LA. You know how everything sounded. They said, "Don't change anything." You know. And so far, no complaints yet. And
well, you've been doing great tracks.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, and then so because I built it when we first came here, and it proved to be I guess you call it lucrative. I mean it's been doing well, and then when the pandemic hit, after I got off the road with Eric Johnston, because we had 2 weeks left, because we were out since January with about a week and a half off in February. We had 2 weeks left, and then they shut everything down. And they go, well, now what am I going to do? So it was like, I said, well, I'll put one of these videos I did up on the thing. And then all of a sudden, that week I got calls. When I changed the, thanks to the guys at Zoom cameras, I got to replace my old cameras and use that, and actually learned how to edit. I never
one of the things I did not know, and that is that here it is, that you have drum tracks from Presonus.
Yeah.
That which is cool. I mean, I didn't know that you had your drum. That's really cool. So
yeah, well, John Bastianelli, a dear friend of mine, called me up. He said, we need to get some drum loops on you, because he knows me more than anybody else. He's heard me play so many times, and we've played together. I had a band back on Long Island that he was playing alto in, and now I think he's head of research and development there. And him and Rick Navi from Presonus asked me to do that. It was a lot of fun. They come up with certain things, and if you got the Studio One thing, you can use the loops, But as far as go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay.
As far as recording here, I think it was the same year that we got taken off the road. Yeah, it was last year. Well,
I think there might have been one reason why you were taken off the road last year when you became the singer.
was some fun times. But anyway,
that was a great tour. That was
it was. It was a lot of fun. It was. I mean, it was hard, especially on the crew. But God bless them. You know, they were great. You know, Galen and I mean Dustin, and Patrick, and Mike and Byron.
Right.
You know, guys really took care of us. You know. And
well, it was what a great group, you know.
Yeah, it was incredible.
You and Roscoe lock in.
Well, we got a long history, him and I.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of history with Robben. Played with a lot of Robben.
Yeah,
and, absolutely.
And he still owes me $5, so that's yeah.
Hey, that's why you're not.
We're still going to be friends, you know. So it's like, as long as he owes me that $5.
That's right.
I'm kidding. Roscoe was more than a big help, and
that's when
a good friend.
When you make the calls and there's like, "Who are you? What?"
Hey, Ross, where's my $5? Excuse me.
We got a problem here.
Mission control. But yeah, I mean, getting back to the studio, this guy Joey Vitarelli, who's done soundtracks for a lot of people. I know it sounds like we're getting all this, you know, all over the universe here. That's the way my conversations go sometimes. He called me to do 5 cues for a movie here, which was great. I said, yeah, sure, I'll try anything, you know, and it worked out great. You know, it was a movie for Sean Penn called A Flag Day. I think it's going to be on Hulu, and I think it's going to be in theaters pretty soon. So, and even, you know, so it was great, you know, some soundscape stuff and all kinds of, you know, they asked me to do, and it worked out great. So, like the professional I am, I the way I advertise myself, I said, "Hey, Joey, tell your friends."
Well, of course. Of course. Well, like we're saying,
you know, instead of "Here's my card," I'll go,
"Oh, well,
if you need me anytime, just call me." I'll just go, "Tell your friends."
Hey, every day tours are canceling right and left. The only options now are to do virtual playing. I mean, it's the only option. I mean, I was just on the phone earlier today on hearing more of the big tours that are shutting down because, you know, meet and greets are over. I literally am talking to artists that are showing up to the gig in their bus and literally staying in a pack and going directly to the stage, doing their concerts, and then as a pack move right back to the bus again because they can't take any chances of being sick. They just,
you know, yeah. It's, I mean, well, like we were talking, you know, Styx was on the road, and James Taylor just, who else?
yeah, well,
Chicago. I can't think of all of them on the top of my head, but I'm glad they're back out, and I hope nothing gets shut down. I mean,
well, on the Styx tour, Tesla got taken off the tour because they got sick.
Yeah,
and that's why they brought Great White in to do some of the concerts. But you know, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is what was probably the biggest song that you got to play on?
The biggest song? I didn't play on any hits. I haven't played on any hits.
Well, you know, on some of them, you know.
I mean,
the Robben Ford stuff, you know, Blue Line was really, you know.
I mean, I loved all of the stuff that we did.
That was a huge album.
It was great. One tune I wish we had recorded, and actually there's a record coming out. I mean, record, shows you how old I am. There's a recording coming out, a live recording that we did from Yoshi's. And I think I finally got my wish because when Robben put this song into the set, I mean, we were in Lund, Swiss. Is Lund in Sweden or Switzerland? It's in where? I'm sure you get corrected. You see a little thing. It's like it's in Switzerland, you dummy. You know. I think Lund is in Switzerland. No, it's in Sweden. I don't know. So anybody out there who wants to comment, just let me know where. It's either Switzerland or Sweden. Because I'm a geographic genius. But
You're geographically impaired.
yeah, he brought this song out called "Love and Cup," which I guess it would be a cover from oh gosh, come on, Paul Butterfield Blues Band. But I don't know. I don't know who originally did it, or what the origin of that song is. But it's really great. And I remember we were playing it in soundcheck, and here I go rambling again. We played it in soundcheck, and it was a cool tune, and I couldn't come up with a cool beat for it. And both Robben and Roscoe were going, it's sort of like a bossa, but it's really cool. It's just go ding 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 ding, you're right. And so what you do is you put a little of a I guess a blues flavor or a funky flavor over it, And I got into it, and they both said, "Yeah, that's it." And we played it that night, and it burned. It was great. And every night we played it, it got better and better and better and better, and had a nice pocket to it, and it was just fun to play. And it was anyway. So it went on his Blue Moon record. I think it's called Blue Moon. Robben, way after the Blue Line records, and it was great. It was great, but I wished we had recorded it. And actually, it's on this new live record from Yoshi's, which I'm really happy because you got the flavor of what our group did to it. Roscoe, myself, and Robben, and also Bill Boblitz on keyboards, and that was a great little quartet. So I don't know. It's a good story. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. So this thing that I was one of the pieces of music that you sent to me was with this group. Obviously, they're
Facebook just to advertise also what I can do, the versatility. Like I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. It's not just pigeonholed to that, And it was actually a lot of fun doing, and it came out to be a really nice.
Yeah,
to help them out. Huh?
The Caribbean one was pretty cool here. Check
Greetings,
this.
everyone. I am just so deeply honored and thankful to be part of this event and to be able to represent for the Caribbean.
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles raged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. Homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun. We vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Down the victory road,
I wanted to show people a couple of your things that let's see.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome because I mean you're a great player, and
Thanks, Lee.
you know, here's another one that's pretty cool. Trying to remember
the names.
So while you're doing that, you know, I started.
Derek Murdoch is the bass player.
Oh, okay. Well, I started looking.
Yeah, go ahead.
I started looking all over the internet because I was sitting there going, God, you know, I'm trying to find some early pictures of you, you know, and the problem is that Getty Images, you know, they want like $600 for a picture of you. So I was like, well, so much for that one. But I did find this early picture of you, and you know,
that's not me.
I know that's
not me. Hold on, I'll give you.
You know who that is? You know who that is?
Who is that?
It's Michael Myers. It looked almost identical to the early picture that
like groovy
that Getty was selling. You know, if you wanted a Getty image, right? I was like, well,
all the images now they're old. They want your they want. Oh, that's right. The photographers and stuff.
Yeah,
well, they make a living too, I guess. You know.
Well, you know.
Yes, they do.
Now, here's a great shot. Let me show you this. Where was this taken at? Hold on here. This one here.
Oh, that was Yamaha used to put on a thing called Groove Night, and they have tons of drummers, great drummers, Yamaha artists that would play at the NAMM show, and Rick Barada and Joe Testa put it together, and Rick's rule was, it was great. He goes, "You play any more than a 16th note, we're going to take you off the stage and beat the crap out of you." No, I'm kidding. But it was like, it's a groove night. So that went on for like, it was in honor of Takeshi Hagiwara's birthday, who developed Yamaha drums. He's since been retired, and I mean, all this stuff here is because of him. You know, he started the ball rolling. I don't think there would be any Yamaha drums if it wasn't for him. And he's been a good friend. So we'd celebrate his birthday, and it happened to be during the NAMM show all the time. So every year there would be a I think it was for 4 or 5 years, maybe more than that, maybe about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And you'd be invited to play, and you'd play one tune, I think. You know, they have a great rhythm section, you know. I mean, and they'd be the house rhythms, and they'd learn all these tunes, you know.
I remember, I miss the old NAMM show. I mean, the old NAMM show used to be, before it became a thing to be there, where it was actually artists were there because they really wanted to see the cool stuff, and they wanted to, and they'd get these great artists to jam and play, and they'd play in the different hotel rooms, and
Yeah.
it was a fun experience. I was lucky enough. I started going when I was 18, and that was a while ago. But and anyway,
They had that horse-drawn carriages delivering.
yeah, that's
milk,
true. That's true.
delivering
You know, yeah, just
guys
start
delivering milk.
with a crank. You know,
Rotary phones.
that's the
Back when they could
there
murder
was-
somebody, just with the handle.
There was rotary phones, but so to get back to some questions and stuff, is I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite music? What do you like listening to?
Oh gosh, I like all of it. It's
I mean, what do you put on when you're in the car and
like
you definitely have stuff you like.
yeah. Well, Sly and the Family Stone, The
Yeah.
Who.
Really? So
Oh yeah, Jimi Hendrix, The Meters.
wow, okay.
Just to name a few, and then
What do you listen for when everybody that plays an instrument listens to specific things, right? And what do you listen specifically to drums, or do you listen to
I listen to the whole thing.
vocal lines, or
I mean, I'll hone in on. I mean, 1 second I'll be check out what the drummer's doing, and then what the bass player's doing. But usually it's the whole thing, and then you. As you listen to the whole thing, you go, oh, that's really cool what the drummer did. Or that's cool what the bass player did. Oh, man, that solo is kicking ass, or the way that organ player is playing the rhythm, or the rhythm guitar, the way the rhythm guitar is being played, and how they're all playing together, and how deep the groove is, and what they're conveying. It just makes you feel good. I'm just focusing in on whatever makes you feel good.
well, what do you like practicing on? Like, for people that like your style, what how do you practice?
Now I just kind of use a metronome, or I play to my favorite tracks, and then I'll do some just exercises because body's getting a little older now. So up and down the drums, just make sure with the metronome, and then I that kind of thing.
Yeah, but you can't tell. That session we did a couple months ago, you were rocking it hard. I mean, you can.
Well, a couple months ago,
the thing we did at 71 West.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that I don't think that ever goes away. I don't think unless you're not constantly playing. I don't think. At least for me, you go, okay, it's this and it's that and it's this. Go, boom, and then you just do it, even if it hurts.
So a couple questions I always like to ask here as we're wrapping it up is, if you had the possibility to have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh God! Oh, to eat a lot and never get fat.
Is that it? So you could eat whatever you wanted to eat?
If I had a superpower.
That's right.
Oh, brother.
And the other one would be
X-ray fit. No, I'm kidding.
no. The other thing would be, what would be the worst thing you hear right when you're going under anesthesia?
Oh, wow. Oh. Don't worry, this won't hurt a bit.
Don't you like oops? Or don't do that. It's just as your.
It's the wrong kidney.
Exactly. Like, oh no. So
and they did for my hernia operation. I had never been under anesthetic before. It was great. I mean, it was the best sleep I ever had. It was like I'm on the operating table and it's cold, and all of a sudden now you're gonna apply an anesthetic, and then I woke up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put the thing over you. He put the mask over. He goes, okay, well, we're playing this thing, and you go to slit. And I woke up. And then I woke up. I mean, it was like no time had passed. But it was like the best sleep I ever had.
Well, and one of the last things is that to people to understand that your level of humor and is. I remember New Year's.
That's why I get the big bucks.
Hello, it's algorithm here. It's algorithm. Oh gosh. Oh, let me get some. It's Gaga rhythm. Yeah. Happy New Year. And here the guys. It's a Scott. Oh, forgot my thing. Scottish guy, Rodney Mc. That's the guy. Okay. And Thomas. Yeah, Brechlein.
How's it going?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Okay. Here we go. Show the queen. Believe me, I can't remember. I drink so much stuff.
All right, okay.
Let's try it again.
Okay.
Shot.
Okay.
Oh, the greatest. Be forgotten. Never brought to life. The dream.
Okay.
Of this door. Thank you.
I just wanted. You're such a good sport. You're such a. I just wanted to thank you so much because I wanted, like I said, this is a journey that's really fun. I'm going to be interviewing some of my friends that just happen to be players in the industry and have made a good mark in the actual industry, and you're one of them, and you're
thanks.
a fantastic player, and
Thanks for being such a great friend. I'm glad we reconnected. And
it's like I said, and for all you out there, Tom is available. He can play. I mean, we've had him do some of the heaviest stuff, and he can do from fusion anything really. It's any kind of style. So, and if their tours start again this year, definitely go out and get it and watch him play because you'll be impressed. And I
most impressive.
most. But anyway, I wanted to thank you so much. I know you're busy, and thank you for coming onto the show and telling your stories. And it's an honor, sir, to
Absolutely.
And
no, go like this. See if I go like that, the camera. Hang on. The great Lee Jackson.
There he is. Well, no, there you go. It's that way.
Yeah, I know. You gotta get. It's always the opposite. Like, look at him.
That's right. But anyway,
look.
Thank you.
Over there, this guy right there.
Again, thank you so much, and we'll be talking again soon.
Okay, man. Oh, I know we'll be talking soon.
You have a wonderful day.
All right, you too.